Good afternoon. This is Kajukenbo Live from the Worldwide Kajukenbo Federation. This is Senior Grandmaster Jimenez coming out of South Lake Tahoe, California. Today I have a special promotion. I have a guy from Oregon. His name is Sifu Miller. I've known him for quite a many years, and we're gonna bring him up today in rank. And but we're gonna have a little discussion first, and we're gonna chit chat so you guys get to know him and everything. He's on the line right now. Sifu, Steve, you on the line?
Senior Grandmaster Jimenez. Aloha, sir. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Every day's, another day.
Amen. Amen. I'd like to begin by saying it is my honor and privilege to be your guest on Kajukenbo Live and be newly grafted into our WWKF Ohana, sir. Thank you.
Oh, it's an honor to have you. I know we've been friends for a long time, and I followed your Kajukenbo path. And so, like I said, it's my honor just as much as yours.
Well, thank you, sir. Much aloha and mahalos to you.
Yeah.
And also to all of our Kajukenbo Ohana on the family tree, all the branches out there. Greetings in the name of Kajukenbo and our art and our Ohana to all of you, each and every one of you. We are the art of Kajukenbo. We are the family that keeps it alive, all of us.
That's right.
So with that being said, I'm happy to be on board. I didn't even want a promotion, but apparently the rules say we have to promote up when we lateral shift and make a lateral movement or whatever. And I guess, maybe I was underranked after not having anything for 20 years, so thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah. Because how long have you been in Kajukenbo so far?
Oh, a chance to clear the air a little bit and speak some great truth about my brother, Sifu Dave Charlesworth of Napoli Kajukenbo in Italy. He started way before me, and then he was going into Navy boot camp right about the time I was joining Kajukenbo in 88 or 89 under Sifu Sid Lopez at the time, who I watched promoted at Qigong Gabe Vargas's at the time.
Yes.
That weekend I was there with Jasmine, Janaea, and Alexis Lopez. We all entered and left safely, by the way. Met Qigong Gabe Vargas. He was a Qigong back then. Now Senior Grandmaster Gabe Vargas. Yeah, that Gabe Vargas, guys. Anyway, all that being said, I started Kajukenbo about 14 years old. That was like back in 89, I think, and trained with the likes of Sifu Sid Lopez, Sifu Beth Bailey, Sifu David Funk, who is no longer with us. He passed away recently in the last couple of years. And with the likes of Brian Frazier, other people that are on the black belt tree when you look under Sid Lopez or Grandmaster Sid Lopez now. You look under that branch, and those are some of the names that I'm talking about. And then I went away for a while, and I did some Aikido, some Tai Chi, and I met Datu Kelly Warden in the early 90s, who was the first guy to show me face-off Filipino stick fighting, and it just blew my mind, and knife stuff that just blew my mind. And then I got into training in Bujinkan, Ninpo, Ninjutsu stuff, the Hatsumi branch, and then eventually Hoshin Jutsu under Dr. Glenn J. Morris, and got a third-degree black belt in that art. And then there's more. Before I came back to Kajukenbo, there was other stuff I dabbled in Indonesian and whatnot.
That's cool.
Tai Chi here and there, and then came back into Kajukenbo about 2001 under Mr. Timothy Gagne. Mm-hmm. And I spent some time with him. I was promoted to third-degree black belt in 2004 under Mr. Gagne. And then I was pretty active with him. And I have to say, he is a very kind-hearted, considerate gentleman who taught me a lot about Kajukenbo and life and other things. And I'm very grateful and honored to have the time with Mr. Gagne. We just kind of grew apart and don't get along so well anymore. And back in 2016, Senior Grandmaster Jimenez is when you first offered me to come into WWKF, which was not quite named WWKF. At that time, it was still new.
Yeah.
And Yeah, and so we had a great talk back then. You and I probably talked for 2.5, 3 hours on the horn.
We did.
I enjoyed every bit. I was ready to join you back then, but I was still kind of loyal to Mr. Gagne. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, he and I parted ways. I actually spent 5 years completely retired from Kajukenbo for health reasons, and I no longer actively teach the physical side of the art. But everyone out there listening can consider me a Kajukenbo ambassador. I will be podcasting on Spotify in the near future, and I will be graciously hosted by you, Senior Grandmaster. Anytime you want to have me on, I'd love to talk to you.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, we have good talks and stuff. I enjoy our talks. Yeah, you're lucky to work with Sifu Dave Charlesworth. He's been with me for quite a few years now, and I couldn't ask for a nicer and better guy than Dave. He's done so well. I mean, he's got his own little studio going now. He's got his own podcast. He's always showing the techniques and forms on the YouTube channels. I mean, that's what it's all about. When he came to me, and pretty much the same thing. With you, all what he had to say, and I brought him in, and we worked with him for all these years, and to be where he's at now. So, that's what we're here for, to help everybody.
Yeah, first, let's clear the air, because Sifu Dave Charlesworth of Napoli Kajukenbo, ladies and gentlemen, he's very highly qualified, and his credentials are solid, and I can tell everyone that he trained before me, and he went into Navy boot camp in like 88 or 89, just before. He almost tested for black belt with Sifu Sid Lopez, and he broke his finger, broke his hand, and he would have been testing the day that Beth Bailey became a Sifu. She now runs the West Wind Kajukenbo branch. Yeah. And so Sifu Becky Ellis is under, so Mr. Gagne's ex-wife, Sifu Becky Ellis, is under Sifu Beth Bailey. And Sifu Beth Bailey is still very loyal to Grandmaster Sid Lopez, by the way. So she is very loyal to Sifu Sid.
Yeah, I talked to Grandmaster Lopez. Usually, he usually calls me every day, but he's been kind of lagging the last week or so. But he's up there in Washington right now. But he usually calls me every day, still.
I love that, man. I just reached out to Janaea again on Facebook, and I texted her. I said, do you remember when we went on that road trip for the 93 or whatever year International Kajukenbo Association tournament at Henry J. Kaiser Auditorium in Oakland? I said, I drove her and Jasmine and Alexis, Sifu Sid's youngest son, or I think he was the youngest, or Janaea maybe. I can't remember who comes in what order. But I'm pretty sure Jasmine, Janaea, and Alexis, so his two daughters and son, were in the back of Rob Block's maroon Geo Metro. And Rob was too tired to drive from Sifu Owen's school up to Sigung Gabe Vargas's in Sunol, so I got to flip the coin and be the lucky guy. And let me tell you, Sigung Gabe treated me like a king. I slept on his kitchen table, on a wood table. He gave me a blanket. Sifu Sid always called me Joe.
Yeah.
He roll up your shirt and use it as a pillow, Joe. That's all we got. Or you can have one off the couch. Right? So I'm like, all right, Sifu. And then the most of any hands-on or anything was Sigung Gabe Vargas, now Senior Grandmaster Gabe Vargas. He said, tuck your chin, tighten your gut, turn your thumb this way a little, rotate your fist a little, or do whatever. He helped me achieve something that I was learning Tiger and Crane privately from Sifu Sid.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be taught to someone at my level. I was only like a purple belt. And then when I met Sigung Vargas, he gave me, he said I could ask him a question. I said, could I ask him two? And I wanted to know a pointer on external and internal, and he goes, well, I'll give them both to you at the same time. And he corrected my form on what I'd already learned 5 or 10 moves from, maybe 5 or 10 moves from Sifu Sid on the Tiger and Crane form. Yeah. Which incidentally I learned 5 Jun Wushu forms from the James E. Breo system, of which that was the 5th and most advanced form.
Yeah, well, Senior Grandmaster Vargas, he put out a lot of, he put a lot of top people out. I mean, in his in the beginning coming up, he put out, like I said, Jim Morez, myself, Rich Manetti, Sid Lopez, Henry Hassan. I mean, so many people he put out. He's helped a lot of people. Um, when they started Kajukenbo in the '70s. And it's funny because his cabin in Sonol. All the years I've been with him, not one time I was in his cabin. It was funny because when I brought him back out after about 30 years, I'd have my driver in the limousine pick him up, and I'd be like, "Hey, Sifu, I need to use the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom." Nope, you're not coming in. Go pee by the bush. He wouldn't let me in the house. His reason was because his house was messy. I'd take pictures and put it on Facebook, so he wouldn't let me in the house. So to this day, I've never been in his cabin. It's funny.
Pardon, sir?
I think it was funny because I've never been, to this day in his cabin.
So yeah, I just barely remember because it was so long ago. It was really tiny.
It's a small
The
house.
reason I had to sleep on the kitchen table or whatever is because I think Sifu Sid took the couch or put his kids on the couch and he went on the floor with like a blanket.
Yeah.
And because he had 3 kids with him, I'm pretty sure they were all on the couch or they got a guest room. And then, by the way, I want to really emphatically state myself and the 3 small children that were in Gabe Vargas's house.
Yeah.
Senior Grandmaster Gabriel Vargas never did anything or said anything that even remotely resembled pedophilia, period.
Yeah.
I want to make that emphatically clear on this show because it should be said on my promotion.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have been influenced to, like, back in the day, Sifu Sid Lopez and Sigon Gabe Vargas were 2 of my heroes. Those guys were like dual Mexican Zen masters.
Well, the problem is with the people that keep bringing him up, they have nothing else better to do but to bring up Senior Grandmaster Vargas. I mean, it's so ridiculous now because no matter what happened, none of us was in that cabin when this happened. So none of us has the right to say he did it because we weren't there. And for all the haters that keep bringing him up, and then saying, "Oh, he signed your certificate. Your certificate doesn't count." They're so full of shit. It's not even funny. And they gotta move on from Senior Grandmaster Vargas and find something else to pick on because the Vargas thing is so old now. It's just got old. I mean, just let it go.
Sir,
it's been 40 years.
I agree 1,000%. I mean, the man was never convicted in a court of law, folks. He's innocent. No. They dropped the case. That's it. Usually, like Sifu Kevin Jackson and I talked about stuff, and Sifu Jackson, I don't even know if it was related directly to Gabe Vargas, but it was just people in Kajukenbo in general with criminal records and people in society with criminal records. And, he made a point. 9 times out of 10, if a person is guilty, they're going to find that out in a court of law, folks, period.
Yeah.
And there's a small percentage of guilty people that are really bad criminals and they're cunning and they go to court and they never get sentenced like they should. And that's what we call injustice.
Sure.
And it happens, but 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. And so I think that has merit. That should be accounted for. I mean, I don't even know if you can have the P word on your show if you can go back, Senior Grandmaster, and put a bleep over that for the sake of...
No, that's fine. They don't have to bleep nothing now. I tell you, I'm glad you tell it the way it is. I do the same thing. They can't take it. That's just too bad. I mean, and he's in his 80s now. He lives in Sonol. He doesn't for what I hear, he doesn't even leave the cabin anymore because he was afraid of COVID and stuff like that. When after 30 years, not really talking to him, when he did get a hold of me, when I brought him out, I took crap from everybody. They called, text me, oh my God. And I told them the same thing. I go, were you there? Oh, well, no, but what? And they go, well, yeah, he just got off. And I go, well, how do you know what happened? I mean, like I said, I just not too long ago, these guys accusing me of being in his cabin and stuff like that. So I've never been in his cabin in my life. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Well, I can say, now I was only there for that one overnight where Sifu Sid got promoted from 5th to 6th degree or whatever and became a Seagon. Now, when those three small Lopez children Jasmine, Janaea, and Alexis saw Gabriel Vargas, they ran up and hugged him and called him Seagung and Uncle Gabe. You know, they knew the way from the cabin to the pool. Because incidentally, Lopez and Vargas were trying to get me up off the kitchen table to take the kids to the pool.
Yeah.
So I said, Seafood, please let me sleep. I drove all night. I got to drive back. And he goes, fine, Joe, whatever. So the kids go to the pool with Gabe and Sid, right? And then hour later, I'm thinking I'm sleeping, and I hear those two guys, Sifu Lopez and Sifu Vargas, go back in the backyard. And the kids come screaming through the front doors. They found their way back from the pool. They must know the place well enough, even as kids.
Yeah.
And they never looked like they were scared or threatened in the presence of either of those gentlemen. And I think that if you have two black belts fully capable of violence who wanted to, you know, abuse children that weekend, they could have done it to us. And they told us, we're going to kill you and your family if you say anything.
Yeah.
And nothing like that even close happened. Like Gabe offered me food out of the fridge, you know. Yeah. I mean, I saw those two guys with a bottle of wine sitting on a picnic table in the backyard, and Sid got promoted. Sure. I love those gentlemen, and I don't mean to disrespect by calling them by first name, but Grandmaster Bob Settles told me years ago, I put my pants on one leg at a time just like the rest of us. Yeah. You call me Bob. You know, and so like I don't mean any disrespect if I call somebody by their first name, but we're mature, grown adults. And people that throw a title in front of their name all the time, sometimes that gets me. Now, I don't have a problem using titles in respectful ways, but also, like, I got to credit Shihan Larry Kraxberger in the Bruce Juchnick branch of Kajukenbo. He said, don't call me, say Shihan Kraxberger unless you're announcing my name from a podium. Call me Sensei, or call me Uncle Larry.
Well, you know, my black belts still to this day call me Sifu. They don't call me Senior Grandmaster. They call me Sifu. With Vargas, you know, I don't call him Senior Grandmaster Vargas. I call him Sifu. Now, when I'm amongst other black belts at a meeting or a seminar, I always call him Senior Grandmaster Vargas. But just me and him, you know, and I call him Sifu. In fact, my limo driver used to call him Sifu. You know, and that's just the name we always called him. We never called him by his first name. We just always called him Sifu. And so I have students the same thing. They'll call me up, hey Sifu, what's going on? Oh, no, nothing, you know, and stuff like that. You know,
yeah,
so
I would be guilty as charged of that because I'm honored and proud to address you publicly as Senior Grandmaster Jimenez. I am very honored and proud to be a part of the WWKF, but I am also happy that I can just call you and say, hey, Sifu. And now I'm really happy to call you my Sifu. I've had Sifus in the past. Yeah. One of them I affectionately refer to as Mr. now.
Yeah.
That's very respectful. I have nothing but love and respect for that gentleman. We just don't get along so well anymore.
Well, you know, the two titles I used to like the best was, of course, obviously Sifu was the first one, and then when I was called Professor, I liked that too. But I like Sifu the best of all. You know, the other ones, you know, it's great, you know, but you know, those are two I just kind of preferred, you know. But you know, being the leader of the Worldwide Kajukenbo Federation. They all call me Senior Grandmaster, you know, because they're people from all over the world and stuff, and that's what they go by and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know where I read this, who said it to me, but someone told me we all have 4 ranks in this life. The rank God gives us, the rank our teachers give us, the rank we think we can give ourselves, and the rank the rest of the world thinks we deserve.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you know, back in the day, it wasn't easy to get degrees. Vargas had given me a student black belt, and then I left in bad terms, you know, with him over something that had nothing to do with karate. But when I was under, I always call him Professor Gaylord, but you know, Great Grandmaster Gaylord. He gave me my second degree and all my degrees all the way up except for my 9th, because then Alta Costco, Senior Grandmaster Vargas, Robert New, Senior Grandmaster New, and those guys gave it to me. Alno, Sifu Novak, Alan Reyes and stuff. So I got all the top guys to sign that certificate, you know, because I didn't want just anybody to sign it. And it was especially with Gaylord, it was far and in between. We got one, and towards the end, he started kind of giving them out a lot to other people and stuff, which he usually never did, But like I said, myself, Brian Yoshi, Jim Williams, we kind of came up the ranks together, and we waited many years apart to get degrees.
Oh
So
yeah,
you would never think in your mind that
that's
you would be
that's
where
the
you're
name.
at.
I was looking at some of your old pictures. Sorry to interrupt, Senior Grandmaster. I was looking at some of your pictures, and one of them had a guy in a white gi, and I swear that looked like little Mr. Brian Yoshi right there.
I think it was the one with the sword form.
That guy's a little powerhouse. I've never met him in person, but I really love to see all kinds of Kajukenbo on YouTube, and I really think that what we need to remember is we're all one big Ohana, and guys, it takes a lot of balls and courage to go on the internet and put your videos out there.
Sure.
It's really easy to look stupid doing martial arts, especially on video, because then it gets preserved.
Well, yeah. I mean, they can't take back what you did when they're looking with their own eyes, and they've done nothing.
Well, if we have Kajukenbo on our patch and it's above the door in our dojo, then we should all uplift and edify each other and promote the art of Kajukenbo and not cut each other down and whatnot. But before I forget, Senior Grandmaster, I think it would be a good time to segue into talking a little bit about Old Pine Tree Kempo and the Mitose system and how I bring some of that to the table. I did spend time with Seishihan Larry Kraxberger at the Unman Dojo in Oregon City some years training there. They brought me in just as a fellow black belt because I already had other black belts by the time I got there. And they were very gracious and kind, and I learned a lot. And I learned a lot from Larry Kraxberger, Uncle Larry, and Mr. Bruce Jucknick, who is a very good martial artist. He is of the highest caliber. However, I also was grafted into the Mitose system by Hanshi Nimir Hassan, a.k.a. Terry Lee. So everyone listening should probably buckle up and pay attention for a minute. There are no belts in the Kogaha Kosho Shoryu Ryu Mitose system. There are 3 levels: a Kirikami, a Mokuroku, and a Menkyo Sensei. And I hold a title from Hanshi Hassan, Menkyo Sensei. And I am also under Professor Randy Lucas of Idaho. So he outranks me by far and is 10 times the martial artist. And I'm kind of under his wing. And Hanshi Nimir Hassan, Terry Lee, formerly known as, I'm only saying that for historical purposes.
Sure.
I do not refer to that gentleman by that name. His name is Nimir Hassan. And he is like an uncle and a father and a brother to me, and I love him a lot.
That's great.
And I've heard a lot of history. I've seen the Mitose system. I have trained in the Mitose system, and I have grading in the Mitose system directly from that Grandmaster, and I represent the West Windward Division of Kogaha Kosho Shorei Ryu Kempo, as well as WWKF Kajukenbo. And so, just to clarify, that's that's who I am. That's who you're talking with here.
That's great.
To all the listeners, viewers, etc.
Well, you know the first black belt class we had, and that was like I think it was in 1980 or something like 1981. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we met up at a Gaylord studio in Fremont upstairs. I remember this is all the heads of the black belts. This is not like after towards the end all the color belts. Only the black belts, only the main guys. Well, everybody had big egos, including myself, and I probably had the biggest one of them all. I'm not gonna lie. I call it the way it is, And what Gaylord did, he made us take all our belts off. He put them on the rail. He goes, "Now we're all even. Nobody's higher than anybody else. Now we'll just train." And then he was pretty tough. I mean, he beat the shit out of us. I mean, that's the way he was. And everybody else was punching each other. I mean, it was. Put it this way, there's about 30, 40 of us, and it wound up to about 7 of us at one time because they got too violent, and then he lightened up a little bit because I think, he had hurt somebody. So I think Jim Morez had talked to him to lighten him up.
Well, Sifu, if I may interject, sir, because of what I had learned in the Tiger and Crane form from Grandmaster Sid Lopez and Grandmaster Gabe Vargas gave me like 2 pointers on how to breathe, and I actually felt the tingling sensation in my index finger and palm and the burning in my belly that Sifu Sid had told me to look for, and I wasn't getting it. But Seagung Gabe was a Seagung at the time. Senior Grandmaster Gabe was a Seagung, Gabe Vargas, and he said, tuck your chin, tighten your gut a little more, and do this. And I felt it. And I was like, whoa, that's what Sifu Lopez was telling me I would feel. And he goes, yeah, do that, and you'll be on track. And I was like, great. And then Sifu Lopez, in another lesson following that visit, I clearly remember he took off his flip-flops. He had on jeans and a Hawaiian shirt, and he goes, hey, Joe, if you're going to learn the internal arts, you got to learn you can't just give a punch. You got to take a punch. And I was like, what? And I thought I was going to get a whoop. But what he did is he said, punch my stomach as hard as you can. And he did a little breathing set, like what I saw later with Sifu Emmanuel Betancourt and Sifu Winfred Yoshko at the IKA Internationals. I saw him do a similar type breathing thing they learned from Sifu Aldecascos. Actually, I talked to Aldecascos before I saw that, and later, so we'll get into that later. We might need a part 2, Sifu. But anyway, so it's the same kind of exercise, and it's in Tiger and Crane form. And then when he goes, okay, now punch me, and I go, Sifu, I don't want to punch you. You're going to punch me back. And he goes, no, I'm not going to hit you, Joe. Hit my stomach. So I punched Sifu Lopez, and he was kind of a little chubby. He had a little bit of a pot belly. And I thought, I'm going to punch this old guy, and it's going to hurt him. Because I was lifting a lot of weights and stuff, and I thought, geez, I'm going to get hurt. He's going to punch me back. And he didn't. But I hit him in the gut, and it felt like a cast iron wood stove wrapped in a sweatshirt or something. I thought it was going to break my whole arm, and I thought my wrist was broken. He goes, come here.
Yeah.
And he pushed on some points and warmed up his hands, and my wrist was fine.
Yeah.
Come on, folks. That's what we're talking about when we talk about Senior Grandmaster Sid Lopez, and he's an elder black belt, and he was a legend in the Pacific Northwest.
Let me tell you that he came live with me for I think 3 times he came to live with me, and he's strong as hell for an older guy. I mean, he's strong as hell, that guy. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, look at my muscles, and he flexes his muscles, But yeah,
he is, and back then he was really ripped. Like he was just in his prime, I think. He was, he got promoted, like I said that weekend, to Seagung, so he had to be 50s or something back then.
Yeah.
He was up there. I mean, usually the old you and I, Senior Grandmaster, we remember when Sijo was the professor.
Yeah.
Sijo Imperato was the professor.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. And Sifus and Seagungs, those were hard to come by at Seagung. And by the way, it's about 10 years per degree. So if you're not 50 or 60 and you're flying flags that say Seagung, and if you think you're a professor or a grandmaster and you're not 70 or 80 or getting close, then nowadays, like if you're in your 60s or whatever, senior grandmaster, or you're approaching 70, then you deserve your title. I think you deserve to wear a title senior grandmaster than most of these guys out there.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're welcome, sir. I'm very honored and proud to be serving you. And like I told Mr. Gagne, I plan to be with him for the rest of my days.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him I'll either be loyal to you for the rest of my days or I will be a free agent. And I told him I wouldn't quit him unless he gave me a reason to. And then apparently he did. And now I'm with you. And I will be honored and proud to serve you in the WWKF for the remainder of my days.
Yeah, I try to, we try to reach out. We try to help everybody. I mean, some countries that, are just learning Kajukenbo, we send them all the stuff. Dave sends them his stuff. And so we try to teach them Kajukenbo. But like our promotions in Kajukenbo, I only promote the people that are in Kajukenbo. All the guys that are not in Kajukenbo, I'll recognize the rank that they're holding unless it's way up there. I won't do it, but I'll recognize it. But they're not Kajukenbo black belts. They're in their own style. But like yourself, like today, we're gonna promote you and stuff. You guys are all recognizing Kajukenbo on the family tree, and that's something that nobody ever can take away from you. So when you hear people say, "Oh, I'm gonna strip this guy," you can't strip anybody. They did that with Vargas. Oh, we stripped him. You can't strip him. It's impossible. You can't strip anybody.
Yeah, let me interject for a second. I'm not going to name names, but everyone who knows who I'm talking about when I say this. There is an incident that occurred in the late 80s or early 90s where one of Sifu, at the time, Sifu Sid Lopez's students, there was a dispute over 4 purchased tires. and it didn't go well, and the one who felt cheated went and beat another one up really bad, and it was a black belt who beat a color belt up, and it was bad. And what happened was Sifu Lopez turned the attacker, the perpetrator's name, upside down on his plaque at his school, but he would not and could not strip the man of his rank. And he said, I look forward to the day I can turn his name back right side up again. He said, I don't want to do this, but this is what we have to do because you're not supposed to beat your color belts up or anyone's colored belts when you're a black belt. You know, I really get tired of hearing my Kajukenbo brothers and sisters on the family tree, like literally trying to cut other branches down and cut them off and pour weed killer on the tree and light the tree on fire and chop it down from the trunk. And, you know, that's what you're doing out there, kids, when you're, and I say kids with love and also a little bit of sarcasm, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, if we're all mature adults, then we don't have any business downgrading each other. If I see Kajukenbo stuff on Facebook or YouTube, I click like. I mean, I'm going to be the first guy to go, you know, it takes balls of steel to go out there and make a video and put it on YouTube no matter who you are. And I think probably more of these guys are getting a lot of critics. Like Sifu Charlesworth and I were watching videos, and I'm like, you know, I'm watching this guy, and people are probably criticizing what he's wearing, criticizing where he's training, criticizing his movement, when they should be saying, wow, that guy's got balls. He's out there showing out the world how much he loves Kajukenbo.
Yeah. Exactly.
By the way, Sifu Charlesworth, he had one hell of a crescent kick and a back-spinning crescent kick. He has very long legs.
Hey, big guy.
He could pull a crab kick off in sparring like nobody's business. And I will add this. Sifu Dave Charlesworth is a historian and a preservationist. He is looking to preserve the original Gaylord method the best he can. And unfortunately, he went to other people, namely my former instructor, so you might want to rewind if you're not paying attention, folks. I sent him there for help. And it was like crickets chirping at him, and he couldn't get any help. And then you offered it to him. You offered it a home and help, and I'm like, great. I mean, now it's a blessing, because I was telling Dave, like, I go, Charlesworth, if I would have talked you into, if they would have helped him, we might both be still stuck in that thing. And I thanked him, like, thank you for going with Senior Grandmaster Jimenez. And then also, he helped, you know, 8 years after you first invited me, Sifu Dave's like, call him. I'm sure he'll bring you in. And I'm like, maybe I should come out of retirement, Dave, and use this big, fat, loud mouth of mine to spread healing ointment of love and respect and honor back all over the Kajukenbo tree, because I don't see enough of that anymore.
That's what Gator used to tell me all the time. He said, you know, he wanted me to take over the KA. He tells me, he always told me this for years. He goes, you know what? He goes, you're the only one that's got balls out there. He goes, you tell them all the way it was. You don't sugarcoat things. He goes, that's why most of them hate you, because you tell them the way it is and you put them in their place. Instead of being a yes man, I tell them exactly what they should do. And I've always done that, and that's why most people, you know, get mad at me or they don't like me, because I just tell them the way it is. And if they don't like it, well, it's too bad. I mean, it's too bad. I mean, you know, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, you know, or sit here and lie through my teeth, you know, and I know different, you know, and, you know, so it's always been that way, and it's always, until the day I die, that's what's going to happen. I mean, I'm just going to tell them the way it is, you know. Well, Senior
Grandmaster, I love you, and you are an honorable. You're an honorable man. You're a no BS guy. You're a straight shooter. I'm also really happy that now Grandmaster Terry Faircloth and I are in your organization, and I love Sifu Terry. He's like a brother to me, and you know, a big brother for sure, an uncle, because
I like Terry. He's a good guy.
I remember going up to Battleground Federal Way and stuff for. I always thought he's like a white freckled Aldecoscos, because he had the same floor with that octagon on it, and like a school like Steve Wow's, and he could move just like Steve Wow, but he was just white with freckles, right? And he still laughs when I say that, and I love Sifu Terry Faircloth, because if he has time, he'll talk to me for 2 hours or whatever, just like Grandmaster Bob Suttles and a few other guys that, I mean, like I was so happy to see a picture on Facebook of Grandmaster Bob Suttles and Grandmaster Faircloth both kicking it on the tailgate of one of Sifu he carries custom painted pickup trucks. That just
Yeah, I know. I see
hard,
his
sir.
trucks all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to your promotion. 'Cause I don't make the video too long, because then the people will want to watch it. But so what I'm going to promote you to your 5th degree, and you'll see in the video. I know you can't see it right now, but you'll see it. We did. The power vested in me by the Worldwide Kajukenbo Federation and Great Grandmaster Charles H. Gaylord, I, Senior Grandmaster Jimenez, promote Steve Miller to the rank of 5th degree black belt to wear from this day on. There you go, my friend. You wear it with good honor.
Thank you, Senior Grandmaster Jimenez. I am so honored and grateful to be a part of your Ohana
Sure.
and to serve you with honor and respect for the rest of my days, sir.
Likewise, my friend. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I want to thank Sifu Steve Miller for this great opportunity to be able to promote him, and he's going to do us good honor just to have his presence amongst us. So again, this is Kajukenbo Live, coming out of South Lake Tahoe for the Worldwide Kajukenbo Federation. I'm Senior Grandmaster Jimenez.